So this other story that they used the McCain funeral memorial to put forward, oh, civility, civility, whither the civility, whither the civility. Republican congressional candidate Rudy Peters, who's running against Democratic incumbent Eric Swalwell in California, was attacked by an assailant wielding a switchblade while campaigning at the Castro Valley Falls Festival on Sunday. This nutcase started shouting about Donald Trump and then rushed at him with a switchblade. And luckily, the candidate Rudy Peters was able to grab his campaign sign and fend off the switchblade. Now, I just want to say, since we're talking about this, civility and who causes violence and who's inciting violence. We're always told any minute now, Donald Trump's rhetoric is going to incite violence. We're constantly being told that on the news. Let's listen to the way the networks covered this story last night. All right. Yeah, all right. So that was not much coverage there. Nothing. We are constantly hearing that Donald Trump's rhetoric is the chaos, the horror, he calls them this. They say, well, when he calls the press enemies of the people, that's what Stalin said. Yeah, but there's a big difference. Trump's not Stalin, so it doesn't matter if he's using the same language. A week ago, just a week before the stabbing happened, there was another story. A Republican Party office in Wyoming was set on fire. It was set on fire just 2 days after it's opened. Local authorities say the fire was arson. Here's how this was covered in the news. Hey, gee, that sounds almost the same as the other story. It's almost as if they're not covering this stuff at all. Let me mention another one, just to give you the idea of the civility on the left. PJ Media, Denise McAllister, who is a pal. She's been on the show. She's an absolutely delightful, wonderful mom. And she put out a tweet the other day saying, at the root of abortion hysteria is women's unhinged desire for irresponsible sex. Sex is their God. Abortion is their sacrament. It's abhorrent as women have flung themselves from the heights of being the world's civilizing force to the muck and mire of dehumanizing depravity. She is now in hiding. I think she may have just come out. She went off. No, she's still hiding away. She is in hiding because they're calling her up and threatening to rape her and kill her. I mean, this is how the left operates. And it is how the left operates and not how the right operates. In the right, we have extremists. It's true. But this is mainstream stuff on the right now. It's not just happening here. It's happening in England. The Conservative MP, Jacob Rees-Mogg, brought his children outside his home, and he was surrounded by leftist demonstrators. Listen for a minute. We do. We have a clip of this. Listen to what this guy is shouting to the guy's kids.
Lots of people don't like your daddy, you know that. No, he's probably not told you about that. Lots of people hate him. Because he won't say how much he pays his... You know the nanny who looks after you, daddy doesn't pay her very much. Daddy says the minimum wage doesn't count for anything, or the London living wage. Daddy doesn't pay the living wage. So poor nanny crook who looks after you and wipes your bottom, she doesn't get enough money every week. But daddy doesn't care, because he's too busy posing as a Latin-eating, orientated toff, which he does pretty well. So how much do you pay your nanny? How much do you pay your nanny? How much? One fundamental question. How much do you pay your nanny?
This basically is the guy screaming at his children, if you can't understand the British accent, screaming at the MP's children. Your daddy is a bad guy. Everybody hates your daddy. Your daddy doesn't pay your nanny enough and all this stuff. Because when you are a leftist, you see, you're elevated to such a high moral plane that you're allowed to do this. You're allowed to chase, Sarah Sanders out of restaurants. You're allowed to torment Mitch McConnell as he walks down the street. In Brazil, the right-wing candidate Jair Bolsonaro, 63, was stabbed by a leftist religious fanatic in a knife attack that almost killed him. He is campaigning from a hospital bed. So this is the thing. It's not just the stories they tell, it's the stories they don't tell. So you're worrying about Trump. Apparently, voters are worried about Trump being rude. Trump is rude. I've hit him on this a million times. I don't think he should treat people like that. They hit him on the chaos in his in his administration. I'm sure he is a chaotic manager. I doubt some of these stories. Already some of the people are saying these stories of people taking off important papers off his desk. They're denying that. I told you when I heard that I didn't believe that story. It's not that there are not staffers who will remove something saying the president doesn't need to say that, but I really do not believe that anybody took an actual executive order off the president's desk. I just don't believe that story. So these are the stories you're supposed to care about. You're supposed to wake up in the middle of the night and say, oh man, John Kelly he's really got it tough. John Kelly has faced bullets for this country. I'm sure he can face an obstreperous Donald Trump and give as good as he gets. John Kelly I'm not worried about John Kelly. He looks like a fellow who can take care of himself. So does Jim Mattis. I'm not worried about those guys at all. They do not worry about me. I worry about my family. I worry about the things that are happening in my life because that's the story I'm telling. That's the story my life tells. And I don't care what story they're trying to force down my throat.